Welcome to the Stoic Tide. There comes a quiet moment in every gentle soul's life, a breaking point, not a loud explosion, not a public rebellion, just a silent moment when something deep inside finally whispers, I can't keep betraying myself anymore. For years. The sensitive soul bends, it softens its voice, it sacrifices its truth, it keeps the peace. Even when that peace is built on its own silence, it says yes when the heart is screaming no. It smiles while its spirit trembles. It wears masks to be liked, to be safe, to belong. But one day something changes. That same heart that once feared disappointing others begins to fear something greater, the slow death of its own integrity. That is the moment transformation begins. That is the birth of sovereignty. That is when a soul stops trying to please everyone and starts remembering who it truly is. Chapter 1. The breaking point. The world teaches sensitivity as weakness, but in truth, it is the most powerful form of awareness. A sensitive person feels everything, the shifts in tone, the unspoken disappointment, the hidden expectations, and for years, they shape themselves to keep others comfortable. They become what everyone needs, except themselves. They shrink to fit the moods of the room. They translate the pain of others, but never their own. But here's the truth the Stoics knew. You cannot serve peace by betraying your nature. Marcus Aurelius wrote, Waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one. The sensitive soul learns this the hard way. You can't keep negotiating with your own boundaries and expect to find peace in the end. At first, it feels noble, to please, to help, to be kind, but slowly, it turns into quiet self-abandonment. You start apologizing for your truth. You start hiding your light because it makes others squint. And piece by piece, you disappear until one morning, perhaps after a small rejection, perhaps after a simple no that felt like the world collapsing, something within whispers, enough. That whisper is not rebellion. It's resurrection. It is the ancient part of your being waking up and saying, you were not born to be understood. You were born to be real. Chapter 2. The price of pleasing. Why do we please others so desperately? Because once, approval felt like oxygen. A kind word meant safety. A frown meant danger, and somewhere along the line, the mind confused peace with permission. The Stoics saw this trap clearly. Epictetus taught, what upsets people is not things themselves, but their judgments about things. When our judgment says, if they like me, I'm safe, we become slaves to opinion. The sensitive soul becomes a performer, carefully curating every word, every emotion, every boundary, to maintain harmony. But harmony built on fear is not peace, it is quiet imprisonment. Seneca once wrote, it is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more, who is poor. And what craving is more endless than the craving to be liked? You can win everyone's affection today and lose it tomorrow. You can give all your energy to keeping others content and still be misunderstood, misread, or dismissed, because people don't see you as you are. They see you through the filter of their own fears and needs. So what happens when you stop trying? At first, chaos. People pull away. They accuse you of changing, of being cold, selfish, arrogant. But what they're really saying is this. You stopped being who I needed you to be. That's the price of pleasing. Your authenticity traded for acceptance. But when you stop paying that price, you start reclaiming something sacred. Your freedom. Chapter 3. The rebellion within freedom. Doesn't begin with revolution, it begins with silence. When the sensitive soul stops explaining its choices, stops apologizing for its peace, a new kind of power begins to grow. It's not loud, it's not defiant, it's simply steady. You start saying no without a speech. You walk away without drama. You guard your time, your mind, your solitude, like sacred land. Marcus Aurelius said, the happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts. You begin to realize that your peace is not a gift others give you, it's a discipline you practice. Silence becomes your ally. You stop over-explaining. You stop begging to be understood, because you finally understand yourself. And when that happens, something remarkable occurs. The noise of the world fades. You begin to hear your own voice. Again, not the fearful one, not the people pleaser, but the calm, grounded one that says, "This is who I am." That voice is your compass. Follow it, and you'll lose some people, but you'll gain yourself. And when you gain yourself, you stop fearing rejection, because nothing feels lonelier than abandoning your own truth. Epictetus said it clearly. No man is free who is not master of himself. That mastery begins the moment you stop letting others dictate how you should feel, act, or live. You begin to respond, not react. You begin to choose, not chase. This is inner rebellion, the kind the world never sees, the kind that changes everything. Chapter 4. The Stoic Awakening. Now comes the hardest lesson. When you stop pleasing people, you will lose many of them. The ones who fed on your softness will call you distant. The ones who used your kindness will call you unkind. The ones who loved your compliance will call you selfish. But let them go, because they were never in love with you. They were in love with the version that served them. The Stoics called this detachment, not the cold withdrawal from life, but the wise refusal to be ruled by it. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "If you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it. And this you have the power to revoke at any moment. That power is your freedom. When you stop pleasing everyone, you take back the authority to decide what deserves your reaction and what doesn't. You start filtering your world. You choose your company not by comfort, but by depth. You seek fewer people, but truer ones. You choose silence over noise, solitude over shallow company, and principle over popularity. This is where peace begins. You no longer fear missing out, because you finally understand what you were missing all along: yourself." The Stoics believed solitude was not loneliness. It was medicine. It was where you met your own mind. And when you meet your mind, you realize how much of your life was lived on autopilot, in reaction to the expectations of others. But now, you move with intention. You speak with clarity. You walk with weight in your steps, because your peace is no longer negotiable. Chapter 5. The Untouchable. Soul. When a sensitive soul stops pleasing everyone, something profound happens within. Its energy, once scattered in 1,000 directions, sharpens into focus. It becomes grounded, centered. People feel the difference. The same presence that once sought validation now radiates quiet, certainty. This is the paradox. The moment you stop chasing approval, you become magnetic, because true power doesn't beg to be seen. It simply is. A Stoic soul doesn't stop feeling. It feels everything, but it refuses to be ruled by what it feels. It loves without losing itself. It cares without being drained. It gives without emptying the cup. It's not detachment from life. It's mastery within it. Seneca wrote, "He who is brave is free," and bravery isn't always dramatic. Sometimes it's simply saying no when your soul whispers no. Sometimes it's walking away from conversations that demand your peace as payment. Sometimes it's sitting in silence while the world misunderstands you and being at peace with that, because the Stoic doesn't seek to be understood. He seeks to understand. He doesn't demand control over the world. He masters control over himself. And from that mastery comes a different kind of light, a calm strength that nothing external can disturb. Marcus Aurelius said, "You have power over your mind, but not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." That is the secret of the untouchable soul. It still feels deeply, but it no longer bleeds for what is unworthy. It still loves, but from wisdom, not desperation. It still gives, but only when giving doesn't destroy its balance. The sensitive soul becomes something greater, a Stoic soul. Awake, steady, untamed by fear, it moves through chaos with calm. It walks through storms without losing direction, because it finally understands that peace isn't found, it's built, and that no one can take it away. So when you stop pleasing everyone, don't mistake the silence that follows for emptiness. It is space. Space where your real life begins to grow. You will lose people, yes, but you will find yourself, and in finding yourself, you will find peace. Let the world call you distant, let them call you changed, because you have changed, you have become real, and that is freedom. If this message speaks to you, it means your transformation has already begun. Stay silent when tempted to explain. Stay grounded when misunderstood, and let your actions echo louder than words. This is the Stoic Tide. Walk with us through the darkness towards strength.